The authorities are stepping up their vigilance on the roadways to ensure discipline and safety. So let's play our part and operate within the law. You are tuned in to another edition of Jamaica Magazine, and I'm your host, Edwin Atkinson. As we head into the holiday weekend, we share a few don'ts for motorists, a life-saving technique that may come in handy at any time, and Jamdex's facilitation of a digital economy. The details right after these messages.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, December 29, 2022. 70 persons have already been charged under the new Firearms Act since its implementation in November. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson disclosed the figures at the press conference on Wednesday, where Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared states of public emergency in several parishes.
From November the 1st to December the 20th, we charged 70 persons under the new act, 63 men and 7 women. The majority in the 16 to 30 age group. I look forward to the impact that the new sentencing provisions will have.
Under the Firearms Act, illegal firearms and ammunition are targeted to reduce their link to violent crimes by strengthening the framework for punishment. Penalties range from 15 years to life imprisonment based on the nature of the conviction. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, will be executing several major development projects in the Norwood community in 2023. JSIF's Managing Director Omar Sweeney says education, water and community facilities will be among the areas of focus in Norwood, which is currently a zone of special operations, ZOSO.
What needs to be upgraded is the water supply system, and so we are in our design development for that. We have a sports complex, a large sports complex that will be built here that has come out of our assessment and our outreach with the community. There's an infant school that is also on the books to be built here in the communities.
He says it will require the partnership of all community stakeholders to see these plans to fruition. Mr. Sweeney gave the update as he addressed a Christmas tree lighting ceremony in the community recently. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is urging the public to take caution against COVID-19 infection in light of increased cases in China and other parts of the world. The Health Ministry says it is closely monitoring and gathering data on these new changes in the COVID-19 situation. Information gathered through the Ministry's International Health Regulations Unit and the National Epidemiology Branch reveals particular circumstances in China that have led to an increase in their numbers.
We are also well aware that changes in climate and the increase in traveling and crowding at this time will cause an uptick in viral illnesses, including COVID-19. In the upcoming days, the Ministry will further update the country on this and other public health matters.
Members of the public are being urged to practice the infection prevention and control measures to safeguard against viral illnesses, including frequent hand washing, wearing a mask, and avoiding crowds. Persons are also reminded that COVID-19 vaccines are available at health centers across the island, and those who have not been vaccinated or received a booster are urged to do so. Jamaica is seeking closer ties with Cuba to further develop the country's agricultural sector. Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Pernell Charles Jr. made the statement during a recent virtual meeting with Cuba's Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Maury Hechavarria Bermudez. He says there is potential for both countries to join efforts in research and development for pest and weed management, as well as alternatives for animal feed and fertilizers. He says the ministry is focusing on these areas because they directly impact the country's capacity to increase and improve production and is in line with the Grow Smart, Eat Smart strategy. The Agriculture Minister says another important area in which continued collaboration with Cuba is required is in the repair of farm equipment. And finally, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is assuring farmers and the public that measures are being taken to ensure animal feed production continues in sufficient quantities while utilizing available inventories of raw material. This assurance comes against the backdrop of recent reports of a product shortage. According to a statement from the ministry, all stakeholders will continue to closely monitor the situation and will provide timely updates as needed. Meanwhile, industry stakeholders have been assured that a sufficient supply of animal feed will be available this weekend. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
I want to encourage the membership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but more so the citizens of Jamaica to respond to the opportunity to be vaccinated. The evidence around suggests that most persons who are being hospitalized are those persons who have not taken any form of vaccine.
Jamaica's preparation for any possible introduction of the novel coronavirus started immediately after formal identification of the virus on January 7 in China. Frontline employees, including those at the ports, the police, Jamaica Fire Brigade, aviation services, airlines, and, of course, healthcare workers, were engaged in a preparatory training for the new virus, should it get to our shores. As more information emerged, the government developed protocols for quarantine and isolation, began establishing coronavirus wards, and initiated plans for special field hospitals. As the seriousness of the health risk continued to take shape, action was swift.
Jamaica has imposed a ban on travel to and from China in wake of the World Health Organization declaration of the novel coronavirus as a global health emergency. All persons entering the island from China will be subject to immediate quarantine for a minimum of 14 days.
Local regulations classify a novel virus as a Class 1 reportable disease or health event of highest priority, which healthcare providers must report immediately on suspicion to the medical officer of health at their parish health departments. To facilitate notification, the Ministry of Health and Wellness disseminated case definitions for the novel coronavirus to the Public Health Network. Jamaica's National Influenza Center received support from the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, in implementing the methodology for molecular diagnosis and confirmatory testing of the coronavirus.
Within 2 weeks of the international declaration, here we are. We are able to test.
I would just like to commend the Ministry of Health and Wellness for the early and effective action they have taken, and we in PAHO continue to support the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
During the early alert phase, interventions included consultations with the WHO and PAHO to learn more about the nature of the virus, its symptoms, and treatment.
The government has signaled its absolute commitment in terms of resource allocation and expenditure to ready our public health system to deal with the consequences of internal spread. And we are actively engaged now in procuring additional supplies, training our staff members, ensuring we have medicines, equipment, ventilators, beds.
Nearly $2 billion was budgeted for the Health Ministry's National COVID-19 Response Plan.
To do the following: guide the direction, coordination, and management of the health response, support emergency response agencies in the implementation of the national plan, monitor and evaluate key actions in public health to ensure their effectiveness and efficiency in achieving the stated strategic goals of the government to delay, detect, maintain, and manage and communicate for the COVID-19, as well as to mobilize the needed resources to ensure the comprehensive implementation of key actions needed to realize the goals of the plan.
A robust public health education campaign began, informing Jamaicans about the existence of COVID-19 and how to protect themselves. These kinds of information permeated town hall meetings and regular media briefings, which quickly became virtual affairs. Government and private sector stakeholders met early to devise strategies for mitigating any potential impact on health, the economy, and national life. The experts began crafting a response for the public sector, including rules of engagement for hospitals, health centers, and frontline workers. The key turning point in Jamaica's COVID-19 pandemic response came on March 10, 2020, when the country reported its first imported case.
Colorful headlights, tinting of windscreens, speeding, and not wearing seatbelts are some of the offences of the Road Traffic Act. The authorities are enforcing the law against these breaches, so make sure you are in compliance.
We have stepped up our road spot check operations across the country to ensure that only effective motor vehicles are on the roadway and defective vehicles are not allowed to traverse the network willy-nilly. I'd like to use this opportunity to appeal to all motorists. I have noticed some trends out there where there is different type of license plates on motor vehicles. Only the Jamaican issued driver's license plates are to be on the motor vehicles. I'm appealing to motorists out there. I'm appealing to them. We have removed many plates because of fandangles that are on the motor vehicle. Colorful lights, red light, purple light, blue light. I love purple and white, but the purple is not no purple light must on the vehicle. Blue light, yellow light, orange light, and these multicolored lights. Get them off. Your headlight must be white. That's the law. You don't want us to take them off during the road spot check operation because it will mean that you could be issued a E1 certificate, a certificate of defects, and you'll have to take funds out of your pocket to get back your plates. The tinting of your windscreen, cut it out because it affects visibility and it has a potential risk factor for traffic crashes. Public passenger vehicles, according to the Transport Authority Act, not supposed to have tints. Driving on the roadway is a very serious matter, and I would like to appeal to persons whom we have issued driver's license to. Remember that we don't want you to violate, because if you violate, you will get certain prizes that you don't want. So you'll get a prize if you accumulate a certain amount of points. You get a prize, your driver's license suspended for 6 months. If you don't listen, you don't hear, you could open up yourself for another prize. And that prize would be a license could be suspended for a year. If you don't like that prize, you could work harder again and get a bigger prize. And that prize, your license could be suspended for 2 years. We would like to appeal to persons who transport. Once you transport any passenger in a motor vehicle, ensure that they are buckled, whether they are on the front or they are on the back. The seatbelt gives people a fighting chance to survive the crash. Many people have died who never give themselves a fighting chance.
Looking at the data, we recognize certain points of interest that we, the road safety, would be looking at in seeing how we can actively engage our citizens and how we can reduce the number of injuries and fatalities that are occurring on our roads. So one of them is actually speeding. Now, most motorists and bikers, who currently represent 35% and 18% of road fatalities. We're appealing to them to reduce and think about themselves and others who are using the roadway. Another road user group that we are actually targeting is pedestrians, and they represent 20% of our fatalities. And we want to appeal to them to be vigilant, to really utilize the road carefully, be alert, don't cross from corners, walk facing the traffic so you can see what we're doing, wear light color clothing at nights and reflective clothing at nights so you can be seen.
Obedience is always better than sacrifice. That's the word from Elohim.
The travel pad application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel pad application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you will then be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
There has been a timely facilitation of the government central bank digital currency, more commonly known as JAMDEX. The move is to position the country towards a digital economy. Let's look at the latest development.
I was in London. I went out to have dinner and I wanted to pay. I took the cash out, shiny cash, to pay. And they said to me the most polite King's English, "I'm sorry, we do not accept cash." Later that evening, after my work was done, I went to see the Bob Marley musical. I went to buy a souvenir after the show. Very excited, I wanted to carry something I could take home. And how much for it? Oh, £5. I can afford that. Take out my cash to pay. I am sorry, we do not accept cash. Cash is just on its way out.
Adapting to cashless environments is quickly becoming the norm for personal and business transactions the world over, and Jamaica is no exception. There is a pressing need to explore innovative technologies to respond to the changes and ensure equitable access, and Jamaica found its solution: JAMDEX, Jamaica's central bank digital currency, the world's first legal tender online money. JAMDEX provides a safe, efficient, and convenient way to pay for goods and services digitally.
We are working to put in place the enabling framework to make digital payments and digital transactions a reality. Why? Because the digital economy is the future. Because it is more productive. What does more productive mean? It means we can do more things with the same amount of time. Rather than stand up in a long line to go and get your money or deposit your money, you just access it on your phone or through some other channel. So because of the productivity gains of digital, it becomes less costly. The digital space also allows for us to include more people in the economy. There was a time when we thought of this transition as just Amazon buy and sell. But the digital revolution is much more than that. The digital revolution 20 years later, 25 years later, has become a space, a separate space that we inhabit.
JAMDEX, which is the digital version of the country's currency, has been operating through the Link app, which is currently the sole approved wallet provider for JAMDEX and is made available through the National Commercial Bank, NCB. Anyone with Link will be able to do transactions using Jamdex with another Link wallet holder.
Jamdex allows 24/7 movement between the wallets. So if you have a Link wallet or you have a wallet at another financial institutions, through Jamdex you can move value from Link to the others.
So, how secure is this app?
Jamdex is a central bank digital currency. The benefit of it is that it is fiat, it is backed by the government, it has all the same protections, all the same controls that the minister will be putting in place to manage our currency. But as far as using, the latest, technological advances to secure, encrypt your data, all of that is present in Link. Another thing we take very seriously is managing your identity. So we put in all the same techniques there as well. We're using artificial intelligence to match your face against the document. We're checking your document against the government databases where available to make sure that the person who is signing up is the person who really should be using the wallet.
Jamaica's digital wallet solution has launched their newest feature, the ABM Cash In Cash Out system. This feature will enable users to top up and withdraw from their Link wallets with NCB's ABM network island-wide. It is contactless, free, and will bring convenience to its users.
There are a lot of transactions that take place today, payments that are cash-based, which is suboptimal. And it's cash-based just because that is today the easiest way to get it done. And I think of things like some of the work programs, right, where people work at Christmas time and they make the place look good, and the government, through distribution mechanisms, all of those thousands and thousands of persons are paid cash. The Prime Minister stated as a goal that eventually we want that to be paid through CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency.
And just like that, it's easier to do business in Jamaica or Island Home, the place of choice, period.
Do not leave valuables such as gifts, laptops, and cell phones in plain view in your car. If you have to leave these items in the vehicle, put them in the trunk. This will decrease the likelihood of a car break-in.
This next feature is a call to everyone to learn the basics of cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR for short. You never know when this life-saving technique will become useful in an emergency such as a heart attack or near drowning.
Oscar! Oscar! Oscar!
Though this is a dramatization, it has happened quite often. In the field, at home or at work, a loved one collapses and is unresponsive. What follows? Usually chaos, confusion, heartache. Instead of immediately providing that critical resuscitation technique which may prevent death.
CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is a skill that is an emergency skill that is used to revive someone whose heart has stopped beating. Cardiac arrest can happen to anyone at any time. In the event that happens, you need to know the skills that you need to perform to revive these persons or give these persons a chance of survival.
We never know when we can really in a situation where we need to help someone else. It's really just a little bit of your time, and I think it would be a worthwhile investment in learning these skills so we can render assistance.
Even when someone is choking, the techniques learned in CPR may be applied to save that person from asphyxiation. To release the person's airway, position yourself behind them and clasp your fist at the navel and roll in an upward motion. When someone is unresponsive, that's a whole other ballgame. The person may become unresponsive for several reasons. For instance, they could have a medical condition. To really know if someone is unresponsive and in need of CPR,
tap the person's shoulder and shout, "Sir, sir, sir," or "Ma'am, are you okay?" Once the person is not responding to you, and they can respond in several forms. They can answer by moaning, they can groan, they can open their eyes, they can move a limb. If the person is not responding to you, now you need to scan the chest and look if you see breathing. Once the person is not breathing, their terms as being unresponsive. So once you have somebody collapsing, the first thing you need to do is check your environment, ensure that your environment is safe for you. Once the environment is safe, now you need to assess the person who has collapsed. Once someone is unresponsive, has no signs of life, call for help and bare the person's chest. So you remove their upper garments. Find your hand position. It's on the lower half, center of the chest, lower half of the breastbone, and you push in 30 times at the Bee Gees song, that's Staying Alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. If you are trained, after 30 compressions, you can give 2 breaths. If you are not trained, you don't know about CPR, you give hands-only CPR. So hands-only CPR is where you compress the chest. You need to continue that on the way to the hospital, so you're maintaining cells' life.
It's possible for anyone and everyone to learn CPR.
Nannies, construction workers, teachers, lawyers, doctors, everyone should learn CPR. Once you're able-bodied, you can learn CPR.
In terms of age, it's said as young as 12 years old can learn the art to save a life.
So many times, children get in situations that they need assistance. In fact, a cousin of mine, her son got into some distress. She realized that he wasn't breathing one day, and she was able to help him by giving him CPR. So I think that was really important that she had those skills so that she could assist her son, because who knows what would have happened if she wasn't able to give him that immediate assistance.
This course, I've done it before, and I find it very interested because I work a lot with children, and one time I have to do a CPR on a little boy because there was leave under my care and mother wasn't around, and he was eating some plum and playing on a plum seed, stabbing his throat, and I just hear him coughing, but it never very severe because he was coughing. So when he was coughing, I hold him up and I try to do a little, I understand the CPR, tell him to cough. And he cough and cough until it actually come up.
I had a patient once, and while I was there in the bathroom with that person, the person just fell unconscious, and I was there, didn't know exactly what to do, but I was there saying, "Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't know much, what to do, but I decided to put the person on the side, and I was there trying to stop the person, Then I was saying to myself, if I had known CPR well enough, I could perform it.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is one of the several local organizations that offer training in CPR.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is an authorized training center for the American Heart Association. We offer CPR training for medical and non-medical persons. We have our scheduled in-house training, and the organization can call us to schedule classes at their convenience.
CPR!
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.